Wakafari, thank you. So we're getting a lot of vaccines. They're coming out. Just tomorrow we're going to be getting 16 plus regulations opened up. So there's a lot of questions revolving this vaccine. How does it even work? So we're just going to break it down really simply here. Here's how the human body works when the vaccine's entered into it. The vaccine is going to act as an inactive virus. So it's not actually going to have the lethal properties of COVID-19. But what's important is when it enters the body, one specific part of the human system will learn how to fight against it. And what that's going to be is the antibody. So that's then going to attach to this specific, again, non-lethal version of COVID-19. And then as it spreads throughout the body, it'll learn how to prevent it from entering the human cell, as you can see right here in purple. And that's really how the whole process works. So now, if an actual virus comes in, one that's more lethal, these will be able to understand how to stop it and fight against it. As you can see here, this is what it would look like if it was an active virus trying to enter. It's the same thing, but now it's game day. Now, when it comes to your body, here's the big question on why we still might have to wear masks, even having these vaccines. So as you can see here, your vaccine will enter your arm and stay in those major tissues. And what really the CDC is talking is that these antibodies will then spread throughout the entire body. But the biggest question here is how are they going to spread overall? COVID-19 can stick around in your nose area, so even if you have the vaccine, you won't experience the symptoms, but it can stay there. So you're almost having the virus and spreading it unknowingly. So if COVID-19 is sticking around in those nasal areas, that can be a big problem. But what they're hoping, and what's been talked about, is that these vaccines are starting to show in those areas, and that means no mask. That's really the big question.
So Walker, you're joining me here at the wall now. One of the things we're seeing with one of the major concerns right now is that people sometimes feel a little bit under the weather after that second shot. Why does that happen, and what are those effects?
Yeah, so actually both shots are the same thing. It's just how your body's reacting. So when the shots are entered into your arm, it's going to act as almost a primer, getting your body ready for that second dose, and that's of course when you experience those more severe symptoms. But when it enters your body, you have now an 80% chance of not getting the virus. The first shot, within the 2 weeks, after the 2 weeks period, already helps you enough. So that's a big thing. But then when it enters your body, the proteins then are reacting to that unactivated virus that I showed you, and that's when you start to feel some of those more severe symptoms.
So Walker, I want to talk about life after the virus and life after the vaccine here. This is something that everybody, it's kind of the thing on their minds, right? After this vaccine comes through, the CDC and Dr. Fauci have sometimes gone back and forth on this issue. This is something we're learning a lot about as we go through this process. What can we expect from life after the vaccine? Do you have any idea what the thresholds we're targeting are here?
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, the big question is, do we need the mask? Now, the CDC did talk about not needing masks if the enzymes go to that nasal area where they can then prevent the spread of virus. So if that's the case, it's really the question of, are we comfortable to go back to that normal day-to-day life without a mask? And overall, it's just jumping right back into things. If the mass majority of Americans receive this vaccine, that's when it's full.
Walker Simmons, thank you very much. This is a super important issue. This is obviously something that's going to affect all of our daily lives really heavily.